Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, our guest heads up Senate Judiciary. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Thanks, Sam. Today's guest, Senator Mark Amodei, represents the Carson Capital District, and we're going to ask him if state government is literally going south.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Vivian Freeman, Kenny Dalton, and Scott Bensing. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Corporations moving to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center require reliable power, fiber optic communication, and clean water sources. And yet, there's another amenity we're very proud of here at TRI, rail service. So far, we've built over 2 miles of railroad track, and another 3.6 is under construction. When companies need to transport freight, we're going to help them move it quickly and efficiently. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beefsteaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the program the chairman of Senate Judiciary, State Senator Mark Amodei, who represents Storey County, Carson City, Carson City, I should say, as well. Welcome to the program, as always.
Hey, guys.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Good to see you.
Let's start out with the Truckee Meadows Water Authority. You guys conducted an audit of them. What was the results?
Well, actually, the legislation was to do that. I don't think it's been completed yet, and we haven't. We had some testimony on that in our first meeting, but actually, most of the testimony was if you're gonna scrutinize one, scrutinize all the utilities in the area. But that's a bit of a misnomer for what the committee's doing, Sam. The committee's looking at the potential feasibility of consolidating some of the functions. Not all of them, but some of them. So in terms of a forensic look...
I'm sorry, some of the functions of
the utilities in the district. You've got Sun Valley, you've got South Truckee Meadows, you've got Washoe County, you've got Tumwa, and then actually there's 4 or 5 other smaller utilities around. There's about 10 or 12 different water purveyors or wastewater treatment folks in the business. When you look at the matrix, you're actually surprised there's like double figures in entities in Washoe County right now.
And so what would you like to see done?
Well, I think the SCR 26 was very broadly worded, everything from cradle to grave, and I think that made a lot of people nervous. What I think we were able to do in the first meeting was narrow that down to focus on resource acquisition and management, and resource is another word for water. We're not going to try to get get, for instance, the city of Sparks out of the sewer business. We're not going to take over meter reading and all that other sort of stuff. We're going to look at a little bit at stormwater stuff because it's of interest to some of the members of the committee. But for the most part, resource acquisition and management. Who's buying water for the Truckee Meadows, and who's going to manage it ideally? And interestingly enough, there was kind of consensus in the first meeting that all the major stakeholders think that's something that we probably ought to take a serious look at.
Are there benefits for Southern Nevada out of this as well?
Well, actually, for one of the few times in my life in Western Nevada, you've got people in the Truckee Meadows saying, you know, maybe we should do something like they do in Las Vegas. And that is the general framework of the Southern Nevada Water Authority, who fulfills that general function too. You still have the various entities that are the actual purveyors, the retail providers of water, if you will. But in terms of making sure that everybody's on the same sheet for acquiring resources, because the market here has gotten pretty volatile in the last year or two.
Well, Senator, let me ask you something about Southern Nevada. The new Attorney General, George Chanos, is from Las Vegas, and he recently said on this show that he's going to keep his main office and his main residence in Las Vegas. Now, you represent the Capital District, and there has been talk of moving parts of the state government down to Las Vegas, to the Grant Sawyer building. Are you concerned that over years, maybe over the next few decades, that Las Vegas is going to suck state government right out of Carson City?
No.
No.
Next question.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, and thanks.
Well, what about Chanos? He's going to have an apartment up here.
Well, you know, George didn't talk to me before he answered that question, and George is a good friend, and I look forward to supporting him completely. I think that just politically speaking, I'll tell you this. I think that everybody knows where the population of the state is, but everybody also knows where the resources are in terms of where your decision makers are and where the head of state government is. I'll just be blunt, I don't think there's much likelihood that anybody's going to undertake the fiscal issue of trying to move the state capital 450 miles south. Does that mean that we don't need to endeavor to provide more service to where those folks are? Absolutely not. I think George's choice of where, I understand his kids are in school and they're stabilized down there, and that's great. I disagree with the statement that most of the work is down there. Most of the personnel is up here. Most of the infrastructure is up here. And I'm sure that George will be doing a great job of interacting with his staff, the majority of which is up here. He's got, the office is structured such that they've got a major deputy position in Southern Nevada, so I assume that after he kind of gets in the saddle and gets used to stuff, that he'll be in Carson as much as he needs to do that. The apartment reference is something I just assumed was to the fact that they wanted to stabilize their kids where they're going to school and that sort of stuff. I think when George gets a little more experience in government and gets a few more miles under his belt in terms of the office, that he may have a different view of the workload and the amount of time that he needs to devote to managing the center of his office, which is in Carson City.
Well, spoken like a true diplomat.
You were mentioned for that office, or did you feel like Governor Gwynn passed you over at all for that? No. You were the Judiciary Chairman. You seem like a natural. You know,
well, thanks for saying that. But
and you have a home in Carson City.
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't have to get an apartment there, or maybe I would. I don't know. I talked with the governor in March about that after we got through the impeachment special session, and we're partway through the session, and my intent in talking with him, and we had a great conversation, and he was very positive, was to make sure that if this was an opportunity that I recognized it as that. And I got to tell you, the more you looked into it, as far as at this point in time for me, it started to feel less and less like an opportunity in terms of gearing up to go from a guy who represents 4 counties to run statewide. If you'll recall, it was very competitive back then. There were 4 or 5 names floating around, Brent Whipple on the Board of Regents, some of the other names escape me at the moment, but I mean, there was plenty of folks kicking tires on that job, and what it got down to for me was I believe Ms. Cortez Mosto will be a formidable candidate, and the good thing I think about Mr. Chanos is that allows somebody for the Republicans to get behind. And at the time I was looking around, the Republicans were to the wind's march. There were 4 or 5 folks dividing everything up. That did not sound like a fun thing to do, to have to fight your way through a 3 or 4 person primary for the privilege of taking on Miss Mosto.
Okay.
Interesting comment. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. More with State Senator Mark Amodei after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
The soul of Vegas was conceived on Fremont Street, and we've stayed true to our roots. Fabulous dining and free entertainment. Topped off by Viva Vision, the biggest big screen on the planet. With free, spectacular animated light and sound shows every night of the year. Party downtown on the street that started it all. The Fremont Street Experience. It's over-the-top vintage Vegas, baby.
If you pay for your communication and entertainment services separately, you could be paying too much.
Unlike cable, SBC let me build a plan to fit my life at a cost that worked for me.
With cable, I couldn't get the services I wanted the way I wanted them.
The SBC family gives you more choices, like the proven reliability of SBC local and long distance service, digital satellite TV, and high-speed internet, all for under $80 a month. Add Singular Wireless and the savings just get better. Call or go online now.
SBC, now joined with AT&T.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we continue our conversation with State Senator Mark Amodei.
Senator, you've been a senator now for 8 years, 10 years total in the legislature. When Senator Raggio retires, would you feel like you're in a position to either move into becoming the Senate Majority Leader or the Finance Chair, the two powerful positions that Senator Raggio holds now?
Well, first of all, at the rate Bill's going, he will retire 2 years after I'm term limited out. So it'll be kind of tough for me to think about any of that other sort of stuff.
But you were rumored as being a prime candidate just 2 years ago for either one of those positions.
Yeah, but you know, I think that was probably a function of the whole disconnect and just absolute chaos of the 2003 session aftermath. I think there were a lot of hurt feelings. I mean, you guys were there. I'm not going to go through and re-explain it all, but I think there was just a general malaise in the air globally, and those rumors, I think, emanated in large part from that. After getting through that and putting 2003 behind us, I can tell you that I'm very happy with the assignments that I've been given in the Senate and the responsibility. I'm kind of enjoying it. I can only serve. I have to run in 2006 for the last time under term limits. If elected, my last session will be 2009. So I'm looking forward to trying to kind of build some infrastructure for those who come after those of us in the first round of term limits, and not necessarily trying to, the thing is, term limits basically creates windows. Instead of the legacies that we've had with the Joe Neals and the Joe Deeneys and the Bill Raggios and all that, you have windows now instead of legacies. So I think realistically and practically speaking, if there's a window there for a couple of years, I'll look at that when it comes, and if there isn't, I'm pleased with my lot now.
Do you think term limits is going to be overturned?
I don't know of anybody who's really thinking about doing it. And I'll tell you, the dynamic in this state, with all the fun the Supreme Court had with the 2/3 vote requirement stuff, I know that that's not a political branch, stereotypically speaking, or ideally.
I'm keeping a straight face.
Yes, I know. But I'll tell you what, that would be a very brave thing for them to embark upon on the heels of two-thirds majority doesn't really mean two-thirds majority.
Okay, let's change topics on you here. Senator Townsend was on here a couple of weeks ago, says we're collecting too much money in taxes, we need to roll them back. Maribel Batcher was on the program yesterday. She said, no way, Jose, we need this money for education, we need this money for lots of different things. Where do you sit on this?
Well, you know, there's an interesting dichotomy because on the heels of giving $300 million back, because of the way things were going, within 45, 60 days we get a call for we need to raise gas taxes for the road program. And I would submit to you that what happened in 2003, the governor had 3 points. We need to diversify our tax base, we need to expand our revenues, and it needs to be with gross receipts. He won on 2 out of 3 of those. I mean, let's face it, everybody agreed with that. We killed each other over what the mechanism was, but with that behind us now, I think that he made his point, and that we should stick with that. We haven't destroyed the business economy and the business climate in this state. Businesses aren't leaving. Businesses are still coming in. That was our challenge. More money without destroying the business climate. And, thank God, I think we did that. We succeeded in that. So, hopefully, while there are areas to look at or whatever, as specific situations come up, I mean, the road building program, I mean, you name it, everybody's got. I talked to an AARP group about a month ago that were just like, you should have done this with it, you should have done that with it, you should have done that with it. Regardless of where you are on that issue, going forward, I think the state's got enough challenges to where, yeah, we need responsibility, and it needs not to be pork-type stuff or sweetheart deals for people, but there are things the state could and should be doing with those revenues that were so hard fought to put in place.
You know, Senator, when Senator Raggio was on the program last week, he spoke of the Republican Senate caucus as kind of a united group. Would you agree? And why aren't you all supporting your colleague, Senator Bob Beers, for governor?
Well, because there's another guy out there who is also, we consider a colleague, is Jim Gibbons, and then there's that lady out there who's the president pro tem of the Senate, Lorraine Hunt, right now. And so when you talk about that, it's kind of like saying, how come you've just picked one of your brothers or sisters as opposed to all 3 of them? And individuals are doing more or less with respect to those individual candidates. I had a fundraiser for Congressman Gibbons in my backyard, but I told Senator Beers, here's what I'm doing and here's why I'm doing it. So I think the way I'm dealing with it is you're completely open with everybody and just saying, hey, this is who I think, you know, but it isn't anything about somebody being bad or not good or anything like that. It's just this is who we're supporting at the time. And that's the challenge for the Republicans will be, after that primary day, to come together behind whoever that candidate is. And we all know that from time to time that gets to be a challenge.
Could be some bad feelings.
Well, Senator Beers said no. He said whatever the result is, there will be no bleeding. We'll see. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. Thank you, Senator.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. Just 10 minutes east of Sparks. We're proud that Walmart and other Fortune 500 companies have chosen Tahoe Reno Industrial Center to relocate their businesses. We have sites from under 5 acres to well over 500 acres, and with all of the amenities that every successful corporation requires. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, and we're building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe boating campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
The Resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Resort at Red Hawk. always the right choice.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we go to our Power Pundit panel today. First of all, we want to say good wishes to Vivian Freeman. She was supposed to be on the program today, and she's a former Assemblywoman, and she's in the hospital not doing too well, and so we wish her her best, and we hope that she's back with us very soon. On the program today, we have Kenny Dalton. He's a member of the NAACP. Martha Gould, nonpartisan. Scott Bensing, who's trying to convert her over to his party. Who's Chief of Staff for Senator John Ensign. Let me start with you, Kenny. This Medicare Part D program. You know, we had a whole passel of people on here the other day trying to explain it. It just seems to me to be way complicated. How is it with the people you're dealing with that are they understanding what this program is? Are they going to sign up for it?
Well, the people that I'm dealing with, I guess, it's complicated. I mean, it's complicated to me, you know, when I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know, one thing we're all going to do is get old. So,
you don't say.
I'm planning on that.
So how come we can't make this system, you know, easy to understand and easy for all of us to, you know, access? I take care of a lady right now who's 81 years old, and you know, through the Medicare and different things, she's on prescriptions, and it was the toughest thing to get her started in that program. You know, at 81, you know, I'm thinking, you know, this should be easy. You know, she's paid her dues. We should be able to, you know, make this system should work for us. That's what it's here for.
Martha, have you taken a look at this? Have you signed up?
No, I haven't signed up, and I don't
you're too
have
young.
to.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm not too young, but as it turns out, the county's prescription program has been approved by Medicare because it's comparable, and so I have that, and I'm not about to change. What I find distressing in this country, which is one of the wealthiest and most powerful countries in the world, that we have so many people who do not have access to good health care, who cannot afford the prescriptions they need. That, to me, is reprehensible. And it is something that our government should address and is not addressing. They just make it more and more complicated. And I'm a fairly intelligent person, and I read through, you know, the booklet they sent, and I'm saying to myself, I can't figure out what the devil these people are talking about.
Okay,
well, Scott, what about Senator Ensign? Can you do something about this?
Well, actually, can I phrase the question?
Yes, sir.
Is it, you know, this is a $70 billion program. Is it too late for Congress to take another look at this and figure out a better way and go from 44 choices? I mean, I have trouble in the morning deciding between cornflakes and Cocoa Puffs. There are 44 choices for people who are senior citizens. This seems crazy.
Well, let me say two things. One, we ran on a much more scaled-down plan. Our focus was always on low-income seniors. The plan that was passed that we voted against has not only the low-income senior portion where the government will give you $600 to start with your prescription drug card to try to take care of folks at the lower income end, but the complicating portion comes in the with the more comprehensive drug plans, and it is confusing. As far as taking another look at it, we had an up or down vote on our initiative. We didn't have the votes. Senator Ensign has proposed to delay the program for 2 years, primarily as a way to get at some of the increased costs with Katrina and the deficit, and I don't believe we'll have the votes to do that either. So it's something that, with any program change that big, there will have to be other iterations. We'll have to readdress it, but for right now, it's going forward.
You know, Ray, you're getting up in years here. You taking a look at this to see whether you can figure it out?
No, Sam, I'm still trying to study the No Child Left Behind law, which seems to be just as complicated.
And it is. And one of the tragedies with the No Child Left Behind is you have the funding that helps schools come up to the level where they should be, and then they take the funding away because they've gotten there. And without that funding to help them maintain, they're going to drop back down again. There are just, don't get me started.
That's only one of the issues they have with No Child Left Behind. But on the positive side, Martha, we do see some movement from the federal government that shows some flexibility in administering No Child Left Behind.
That is a welcome movement, but I'm still, you know, it seems to me that when the government moves, the federal government moves to try and improve something, they make it so complicated and so complex that the cost sometimes outweighs the good. And having spent, you know, 10 years with the National Commission in Washington, I'm just sort of amazed. Outside the Beltway, they have no concept of the needs of the western states where we have to deal with rural populations and vast distances.
Would you agree with that, Scott?
Well, I mean, let's look at what we did. In addition to accountability, we had the largest increase in federal education spending in the history of the country. So there's a lot of talk about what money isn't there, what mandates are unfunded, and specifically, and again, in a program change of this size, we have to, no matter how good, if the brightest education minds in the country sat down and wrote a federal bill, there would still be cases where we'd have to go back and make adjustments, and we're doing that. But as far as the money is concerned, we have always said, and this was not supposed to be something that was underfunded, if areas are underfunded, please show us how and by how much, and we'll work to correct that.
It seems to me that a number of states are starting to do that, or actually have said, we're not going to take the No Child Left Behind money.
Yes, and I just want to say that the university announced this week a record $15 million gift for the new Math and Science building, including the Academy for Profoundly Gifted, and that came from Jan and Bob Davidson, and they've been guests on this program many times, and thank you so much for doing that. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amodei Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Peppermill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Peppermill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Peppermill. Where are you dining?
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. Also, the show is now available via podcast.
Tomorrow, she's funny, she's fresh, she's Stephanie Miller, the rising star of progressive talk radio.
You sound like you have a crush. We'll see you next show.